The latest on the David Beckham saga and breaking down the MLS Defender of the Year next on The Daily. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily here on MLSsoccer.com with Simon Borg. I'm Nick Firchau, looking back at the biggest news from Monday and maybe the biggest news of the season. David Beckham has announced that he's going to be done with the LA Galaxy after the MLS Cup on December 1st. One last chance to see David Beckham in an LA Galaxy kit out at the Home Depot Center against the Houston Dynamo. That is big news in itself. Maybe the even bigger news that's certainly resonating Tuesday morning. Now what for David Beckham? He says he wants a new challenge. Where's he going?
Well, this morning, Nick, we're hearing rumors that the Melbourne Heart, an Australian soccer club, might be splashing out the cash. I think the report is something like 1.7 million for 10 games. They're on the record with this, that they're going to make this offer to David Beckham. Look, the announcement on Monday comes on the heels of the Australian A-League announcing a mega TV deal with local broadcasters in Australia, something like 160 million Australian dollars. So look, you put two and two together and you see a scenario here emerging, but still, for the LA Galaxy now, the question is timing. 2 weeks now leading up to MLS Cup, it's all going to be talking about Beckham.
It's all going to be about Beckham over the next 2 weeks. You mentioned it. The Australian team seem to be the front runners as of Tuesday morning, but there's so many rumors out there, Simon. Let's dispel some of these. Snoop Dogg, or Snoop Lion now, is one of these guys that's trying to maybe invest in Celtic, the famous Scottish club, and he had a tweet out on Monday about potentially David Beckham coming to Scotland. Then there's the rumors about the New York Red Bulls. Even Taylor Twellman from ESPN saying maybe David Beckham goes to New York. What do you think of that one?
Well, that last one, the New York Red Bull one, I can't see happening because the way the comments were phrased in the statement that came out, both from the commissioner, Don Garber, from Beckham himself, it doesn't sound like he's staying within the league. I think you can infer that from the way things, I mean, the commissioner mentioned, we look forward to his continued work with the Galaxy. So it can't be that he's going to another club.
Don't forget, he still has that clause in his contract about owning a potential MLS expansion franchise in the near future. So not done necessarily yet with MLS, but his days with the LA Galaxy will come to a close on December 1st. Stay tuned to MLSsoccer.com for all the updates. Well, next up, the award season is upon us. We found out that the Rookie of the Year went to Austin Berry on Monday from the Chicago Fire. Next up, Defender of the Year, and it goes to Matt Besler from Sporting Kansas City, really one of the breakout players of 2012. And this is what's interesting, how it breaks down on the voting. Matt Besler did overwhelmingly well with the media, but lost in the vote out to Victor Bernardes for the San Jose Earthquakes with both club execs and the players.
Not surprising to me, Nick, because if there's a player I thought really resonated with the media, it's Victor Bernardes with the scowl, and even from the beginning of the year, a lot of people attributed San Jose's newfound success to having that key piece in their backline, Bernardes. So I'm a little surprised by the media, voting for Besler over Bernardes, but still, Besler to me, he was my Defender of the Year a few weeks back when we talked about this. He's done it quietly. I don't think he's gotten a lot of buzz, but there was that call up in August for that Mexico game that I think maybe raised his profile in the eyes of many.
Really one of the rising stars in the league. Besler finishes first, followed by Victor Bernardes from San Jose, and then Aurelien Collin from Sporting Kansas City. Last but not least, some transaction news. A lot of teams waived a lot of players on Monday for the waiver draft. Cole Grossman, the only one picked up by Real Salt Lake. The bigger story maybe here, some big names parting ways with the club. Julio Cesar out in Kansas City, Timo Tainio for the New York Red Bulls, and Gabriel Gomez from the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, throw Jan Gunnar Solli in that mix, and Carlos Rodriguez at FC Dallas, a young Panamanian who you thought might stick around. Look, what we saw yesterday were teams cutting veterans who really didn't have a future with the club, mainly internationals as well, because they're occupying international slots, and then younger players that were just not going to make the cut going into 2013. So a lot of names, and now those players who were not taken in the waiver draft, and there was 40 plus names not taken, they now become free agents essentially, first come, first serve.
One other bit of news, the New England Revolution have signed Khalifa Cisse, a former Bristol City and Reading player, a nice addition for the Revolution as they look towards to making the postseason again in 2013. That does it for us. I want to remind everybody the latest edition of Extra Time Radio came out on Monday. We had Peter Walton, the general manager of the Professional Referees Organization, looking back at that decisive handball call from Sunday night between the Seattle Sounders and the LA Galaxy. We're also joined by Bobby Boswell from the Houston Dynamo. You can catch that on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Buzzsprout. For all the latest news, log on to MLSsoccer.com.